Ninth, which is insane to say, ninth annual Dent Blend. I'm going to start off the top by first just thanking our incredible physical hosts of Common House, who are just incredible, letting us do this year after year, opening up to their members too. Just always awesome. So, ninth year doing this, but here, let me demonstrate to you how cool this community is. How many people here have been to a Dent Blend in the past? Look around. It's interesting. How many people here are brand new? Right? Now here's what, I think this is a fun fact. I don't know, I'm a data guy. I think this is fun. I don't know if it is or not. Who here has spoken at a Dent Blend? Been up here? Y'all notice that. Those are not just people who are doing it now. Like the fact that we are a community where the people who speak want to continue to come back is part of the reason I love this. It's the fact that the people next to the seats can easily be the ones up on stage and vice versa because of the stories. And this year's stories, I don't ever like pick the theme per se. It's more like we get like one or two of the speakers lined up and a theme kind of starts coming into shape. So this year's being becoming. Whether it is a company becoming who they need to be and who they are, whether it's a person, whether it's a community. I think you're going to see that thread through all of this. Quick little housekeeping notes. We're going to have like a very brief break in between the first and second speakers just to kind of like get set up. Bathrooms, if you don't already know, are kind of out the hallway, just go that direction. We're going to have a little bit of an activity break after the second speaker, some great time to network and whatnot, and then after the third speaker, you're all going to be invited up to the fourth floor for a reception. So there's some great nom-noms and back there, some drinks, some other kinds of drinks if you're into it later as well. No judgment, middle of the day, you know, whatever. Like the holidays. But thank you all so much for being here. We are also recording this so that everyone who's registered will also get the link for the recording. The other thing you will get is the fact that there is a big Dent, a large version of this that goes for 4 days in Santa Fe. You'll get a connection to that too. That's invite only, but you are all automatically invited. But let me tell you what I think is the coolest part of this whole thing, which is if you are in this room, you will never pay to come to this ever. Once you come once, you are in. You're a part of the community, and that's why it will always be free to you to be a part of this community. We've got a Facebook group too that's just kind of like weird, I guess usually for old people now, unfortunately. But we do have that, and we talk about what we're doing, like what cool things people are doing. So we do have that little thing going on. Maybe that ought to be a Discord or something hipper. But anyways, the point being, this is a community. Welcome to it. And we've got two folks who I love dearly in this community do incredible stuff. They're going to tell you about what they have been up to, and I'm not the person that's going to introduce anybody, you'll notice today. It's more of a let their stories speak for themselves. So I'm going to have both Theresa and Susie come up and kick us off with the first speech, and here we go.
Thank you, Dean. Is this on?
I think so, yes.
Okay. Well, welcome everyone. I'm Theresa and this is Susie, and we are with RedOrange Studio. We're a creative agency here in Richmond, and we work primarily with nonprofits and purpose-driven organizations to help them tell their brand story and multiply their impact. And we're very grateful to Dean for inviting us to share our story here at Dent, because Dean is actually a part of our story, and you'll hear a little bit more about that shortly. But our journey to becoming who we are at RedOrange started with the PIP project. So we're going to talk about that today. That's our social impact initiative, and PIP stands for People Inspiring People. And it started about 8 years ago when we donated about $5,000 worth of creative services to a local nonprofit. And today, I'm excited to tell you all that we are well on our way to achieving our goal of $1 million worth of pro bono marketing and creative services, along with our partners like Dean, to nonprofits throughout the Commonwealth. So this is huge for us, but today we're not just talking about us, we're going to talk about you. Because we believe every one of us has the power to plant a seed and make a dent. And we're going to have a little exercise where you're gonna have an opportunity to talk about what your seed is, your idea, your passion, and you'll see you have a seed kit to get you started. So more on that later, but if you are someone who's just feeling like, I really feel like I'm supposed to make a difference, I wanna do something meaningful, whether it's in your job or your business or your family or your community, then we hope today is an inspiration to get you started on that. So with that, we're also going to share today about our B Corp journey. And if you don't know what a B Corp certified organization is, you're going to learn about that today. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And we're going to share 3 things that we have used in order, along this journey in order to plant our seed and make a dent. And they are courage, consistency, and community. And I'll let Susie get us started with courage.
All right, great. Well, first seed was planted long before the PIP project existed, or even before B Corps existed. I was right out of college, graduated from BC's art school, and got a job for this amazing finance company. And Michael Thayer was one of my first bosses, and he's here today. And I really got to see what mission-driven work was. They weren't just managing money. They were helping their clients understand what wealth meant to their communities and their families. They even had what is now a social impact initiative, a nonprofit arm that takes missions trips to Niger, Africa. And fast forward a bit, when I started Red Orange Studio 20 years ago, a lot of my clients were nonprofits and small businesses. In fact, Michael's company came on as a client of ours for many years after that. So, however, as we grew, our skill set and our team grew, our prices increased, and it was harder to serve some of these nonprofits and these small businesses. But I did what a lot of us do, said yes anyway, even when they didn't have the money, and started to notice that we weren't serving these nonprofits the best that we could. Our paying clients might have gotten their projects a little sooner, and ultimately it wasn't sustainable for our company. And that's where I thought, we've got to be able to solve this problem. There's got to be a solution. And just started thinking about ways we could do that. So fast forward a little bit more, and NABO, National Association of Women Business Owners, I think it was around 2018, they had an award for something called No Small Thing. You could submit a video, and the theme was No Small Thing. Well, I thought, this might be my opportunity to push out a little idea that I have. And I put this video together, which is humbling to show you. But
2018.
Gets you to see some of the people who planted seeds in my life and sort of this overarching idea to PIP.
The name of my company is Red Orange Studio. It will be 11 years old in June. Yay! The success of my business boils down to one really small word I discovered earlier this year. PIP. Yep, PIP. A pip is a small seed of a citrus fruit, like an orange. The one thing that has contributed most to the success of my business is a seed. A small seed of greatness that was planted in me by very influential people. This little seed was small in size, but it was no small thing. I like to think of it like this. PIP. People inspiring people. It's pretty simple, this philosophy of success that's driven my growth, and I'm incredibly grateful for the people who've influenced me the most as a business owner and entrepreneur.
Real word. PIP.
Yep.
PIP.
Yep.
Progress, intervention, and power. I don't know.
PIP. A PIP, according to Susie Fife, is a small seed.
It's not fair. You know that. Okay.
PIP.
You got it.
A peculiarly interesting person.
I work with them.
Best guess.
I have no idea. PIP? To be creative and successful.
Do you know what a PIP is?
No.
Give me your best guess. What could a PIP be?
PIP. It's got to be some technology-based thing.
All right. Thanks, you guys, for watching that with me. This is a little tricky to get to that next slide. All right, so we had an idea, small seed of an idea, but we needed a little consistency to get it going.
And consistency is my superpower, so I feel like we are all really, really good at coming up with great ideas and maybe launching them, but the hard, boring part is the consistency. So, this is the sunlight and the water and all that nourishment that we need for our idea to give it roots. So what that looked like for us with the PIP project was, let's make it formal. Let's create an application. So instead of just saying yes when things came along, if we had time, we went and put out a call for applicants. And then how are we going to decide who's going to be a good fit? So we had to create a scorecard or a rubric. Nothing fancy. It was an Excel document. It's still an Excel document. But it helps us evaluate the applicants based on their alignment with our core values, their ability to take what we've done for them and truly make an impact with their community and other important factors. Then we, as Susie said, we still treat our PIP projects like we would any client work. So that means we've got a scope of work, an estimate, and a project agreement, just so all the expectations are aligned internally and externally. And then we wanted to make this a repeatable process. We weren't just gonna, let's just try it. There was a little bit of iteration and trial and error, but we thought, let's give it a timeline and a cadence. So the PIP project, we put applications out every year in like March, and we wrap the project up by the end of the year. And that gives us kind of this annual rhythm to the PIP project. And Claire, who's here with us today, is in charge of helping us stay on track with that. And then the other thing that we do is we have been very intentional about getting feedback. So not only from our PIP award recipients, but applicants who don't receive it. We stay in touch with them. We ask them about the application process, criteria, and our PIP partners who work with us. So we're continually improving it and asking for feedback, and obviously internally as well. So it's the seed, it's the courage that it took to plant the seed, and then the consistency that gives it roots. But quickly we learned that there was still going to be a limit to how far we could go on our own. So we decided that we needed to introduce our third C, community. And I like to think about community as like all the plants in the rainforest, because each one of them is very different. They each have their own unique skills and features, but together they create this beautiful biodiverse ecosystem. And that's what we were hoping to accomplish when we introduced our PIP partners. I'll let Susie tell you that story.
Yeah, so it was probably the second year I had one of my dear friends, Venus Bolton, was managing our PIP project, and she got about 30 applicants that came in, and of course we narrowed it down and selected one, but she said, I just wish we could help more than one. And so of course we wanted to find a way, because there were so many nonprofits that really didn't have a marketing director, or all of their funds go to their programming, and they just needed to be able to tell their story just to kind of propel the work that they were doing. And so we gave a call to some of our friends. We called Dean with feedback. We called Stacy and Sally over at Good Run Research, who were past speakers at Dent. And they were our first two PIP partners as researchers. And so they did all this listening for our nonprofits that informed the brand work that we did, and it was so incredible. And then this year, we've had the fortunate opportunity to work with 9 other agencies in the Richmond area, from paid media to SEO to sound, video, brand strategy. We've been able to work together for this year's nonprofit. So let me show you a little bit of what that multiplication and what that impact looks like because of community. So you can see the first year, $5,000 we were able to award, $10,000. Those 2 years were on our own. Every year since then, from 2018 to 2025 with the stars, is the years that we've had at least 2 agencies helping us. All of this pro bono work. And the values that you see are what we would charge a paying client. So the value of the work. And in fact, we even do a project agreement and an estimate, say the work, so that the client knows the value of the work that we do. We were able to take 2019's impact times 8 into 2020. Again, increase it to 108 in 2021. This year, the recipient of the PIP award is Connect with a Wish, which is a foster care program in the Hampton Roads area with a significant need to tell their story and some brand strategy. So all 10 of us agencies are working on their brand refresh, and so far the value that's been donated through Dean's Research, Good Run Research, and now Brand Federation is $140,000. And we still have work to go on that one. So pretty cool that we could, there's no way we could reach that amount of impact without our community.
Okay, now it's your turn. So you can see we did not get there on our own, but we did have the courage to take that first step. So what I'd love for you to do is get in like a group of 2 or 3, and you can use your little seed kits, and there's a permanent marker because there's power in writing something in permanent marker. And there's power in speaking out loud. So if you want to take a couple minutes, think about a seed, an idea, something you've been working on, and share it with your partners. Oh, perfect. I know you all just want to go straight to the cocktail hour and discuss your ideas, so you can pick that back up later. But I was wondering if anybody wanted to share the idea that they shared and wrote down on their seed kit. And I'm going to start with Dean.
Is that the shy one? All right, so this is actually, mine ended up being a little bit of a challenge, maybe with some people that are here. I don't see why, with everything you learned in the PIP process, that could be put up as an open source document and like a challenge to franchise it in other cities. And that other agencies, and we've got people here, Jennings, Dan Dunlop, I mean others we have from Denver, we have people from all over Birmingham. Like, I think that like as an open source document, this is a concept that could be taken to any other city and repeated.
I love it. Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Thanks, Dean. Okay, anyone else want to share their idea?
Hi, I'm Julia, and I'm currently a student right now at VCU in marketing, and I'm on the executive board for American Marketing Association, the VCU collegiate chapter. And hello, Dean.
Everybody should speak for them. They're great.
This is true, guys. Get in touch. But yeah, so in this spring semester, we're going to the International Collegiate Conference in Chicago, and everyone has to participate in like a quick pitch sales competition. And I've actually never done one before, so my seed is figuring out what that even is, so I can actually start preparing for it.
All right, well, I wouldn't be surprised if you get a board of advisors. Yeah, exactly. Great. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, one more. Who else wants to share? Oh, we have a couple people that are great. All right, in the back.
Hi, I'm Lindsay. I have been commuting by bicycle since I was 18, and I've been a cycling advocate most of my life. And then I was hit by a car 5 years ago, and I was in the hospital for 5 months on life support. And I should not have failed, but I did. And so I've gotten more involved in cycling advocacy, including this organization called the Magnus White Foundation. Magnus White was a 17-year-old international competitive cyclist who was on Team USA, and he was killed by a car in Boulder 2 years ago. So there is now the Magnus White Cycling Safety Act legislation in Congress. So I just spent the past 2 days lobbying different like 30 different legislators trying to get sponsors to co-sign that. And that's one thing. The next thing, and then I got introduced to adaptive sports after getting hit by a car, and so I created a website that is a filterable directory of adaptive sports across the US and Canada. And any organization can sync its calendar so all of its events automatically show up. And the site's great, and no one knows about it yet. And so in 2 days, I'm flying to Colorado to go to Breckenridge, where it happens to be the largest adaptive snow sport event in the US, with 1,500 attendees. Okay.
And what's your website address?
Adapt to play.
Adapt to play. And number two, adapt to play. Awesome, thank you, Lindsay, right? Thank you, thanks for sharing that. Okay, I know I said one more, but one more. Go ahead.
I believe that art brings life. I've spent the last 20 years of my life in state of the art, and we need a little bit more art. Nobody talks about the art in STEAM.
Louder.
Everybody talks about the art in STEAM, but art brings life. And right now, I think that one way to do that is to manage the reproduction and distribution of art into communities. And then specifically, the intent is to increase two indices that Compass Realty, who closed $78 billion in transactions last year, looks after. They look for the indice of the Creative Cultures Index, and they look for the indice of the Neighborhood Amenities Index. And so while many of our neighborhoods are actually facing gentrification and we're facing displacement, I think that the reproduction and distribution of art, I think it's a viable business to actually provide almost like an Uber model and organize the supply chains around art. It's called the Art Project, and we are in trouble because we have a big vision.
Art
Project.
myphoebus.com
is where we're set up right now.
Okay.
And I am blown away by your, I literally just gave you my card, I'm blown away by your mission, because that's one of 3 missions that I have after finishing 20 years at NASA and leaving not against my will, or not as planned. And yeah, it's just, this is such a needed, being able to communicate missions on top of passion and purpose is incredible.
Well, I love hearing your mission, and I think it feels great to say it out loud in front of this audience. I'm sure you're going to get some conversation later today as well. And speaking it out loud is kind of a form of commitment, which is exactly what we did. We took our PIP project to the next phase by deciding that we wanted to become a B Corp certified company. And Susie's going to tell you about that.
Yeah, so early 2020, before the pandemic, I went to visit my mom and dad, who you got to meet. It's so nice to hear my dad laugh like that. He passed away 4 or 5 years ago, so when I pulled out this video, I was like, oh, I miss his laugh. Actually, this was the last time I got to see him, was this early 2020. But I intentionally had made a plan to stop by Lincoln, Nebraska to meet this guy. This guy's Jay, and that's my daughter, Naomi. And Jay owns a creative agency in Lincoln, Nebraska, of all places. I landed upon him actually through a mutual client. And I was inspired by his very mission-driven work and the way he uses creativity for good. And so I went by and he gave me a tour of his agency, and he's the first person that I had really heard about B Corp from, or really started to understand what it meant. In fact, Firespring, the name of that agency, was the first B Corp in Nebraska. So he left me with this beautiful gift to take home, and you can tell from like the statement there, we leverage people, products, and profit to do more good. He has a Do More Good movement and conference that I went to earlier this year, and I was able to share with him because of his inspiration and the seed he planted in me. We became a B Corp in January of this year. But it was a courageous step because it's a non-revenue generating certification. Does anybody know what a B Corp is? All right, yeah, great. So for those that don't know, it's a global certification. There's over 10,000 companies globally that have this certification, very rigorous standards of social and environmental impact. About 3 or 4,000 in the US and about 40 in the state of Virginia. All right, so I put it on my yearly goal list the next year to become a B Corp. And then it ended up on my 2022 yearly goal list, and then 23, and then 24 rolled around. I said, Theresa's like, we just got to hire a consultant. So there are many wonderful consultants out there that help you go through this rigorous process. And Carrie, I sat on several Zoom meetings with her week to week.
You look thrilled, by the way.
That's because I had to go through hundreds of questions, answer them, look through all of our processes, update some of our policies, and put this all on a Google Drive and make sure it was buttoned up in order to get this certification. But Carrie was a huge help in making that happen. Took a lot of courage, and then she brought the consistency in getting all of the documentation ready. And then once we were certified in early January, that's where community came in. We hosted a B Corp breakfast in March, which is B Corp month, and that's where we met Justin. Everybody say hi to Justin with Equality MD. He was there, and he'll be at the B Corp table later. So you can talk to him. along with Roberta with Alexis Advisors, another B Corp, and this is Stacy with Good Run Research, one of our PIP partners. And so with the B Corp community, we get to learn from each other, share ideas, and be held accountable to doing good work. All right, so this is what we're committed to as an agency, and you can learn more about that if you visit us at the B Corp table when that time comes in the agenda. We just want to take the time to thank you guys really for being here today. We want to thank the PIP partners, Dean, and we want to thank our B Corp community for really making an impact. And just really want to encourage you all with the little box that you have, that it's not just a little swag or giveaway, but that it really for you represents a seed or an idea so that you can create the impact through courage, consistency, and community. And hopefully plant a seed
And make a dent.
I mean, come on. This is the first 30 minutes, y'all. We're going to take a 5-minute break, set up for the next one, so, don't go too far, but just kind of chill out like 5 minutes, and we'll be right with you.